call this meeting of the Commissioners to order. Please join us for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks everybody for being here today. We'll begin with minutes of our previous meetings. We had an opportunity to review the minutes.
Yep, I'll move to approve the meeting minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Tracy and a second by Dale to approve the minutes of the previous meetings. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
First up on department reports today is Area Plan Commission Director Bill McDaniel.
Thank you. All right. What you have for you is the contract for Mr. Crawford. It's the same one as we've had the last 3 times, and so of course, hopefully I changed all the dates. And I gave a little bit of time to start before I leave on my vacation, so that Mr. Crawford is also interested in them being familiarized with the permit software, because the goal is to, looks like we're going to try to go live with the online permitting system on the first week of September. So.
Bill, this contract is for from Friday, September the 2nd to Friday, December 31st?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You don't have that much vacation time, do you?
Well, I'm getting kind of old, I'm 62, something might happen, I'm starting to break down physically. We may need them for medical reasons. No, seriously, is that it's kind of a just-in-case thing also. It's to go to that point. But yeah, that's just what I've done in the past with these. I can make sure I don't save any then vacation time for next year. So feel better about that then.
I want to make sure I'm clear on this. How many weeks are you going to be off?
Oh, I'm just going to be gone for 1 week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wouldn't this contract proposal obligate us until the end of the year?
It's if for some reason we need Mr. Crawford's services, but it's kind of a just in case thing. But
Is it my understanding this is the same thing, same agreement we had previous
Yeah,
last year?
exactly,
Just you said
yeah.
you changed the dates in here is all?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, this will be the, 2019, 20, 21, and then this year. This will be the 4th year that we've done this with Mr. Crawford. And then we had contracts with people before that, and once was when I recovered from a hernia surgery, and the first time was when it was an emergency. It's when I blew out my knee with the proverbial ladder accident with gutters.
Last year's contract was from May 24th to December 31st.
I guess I've slept since then.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it started earlier because last year my vacation, that was around the end of May, first week of June last year when I went to the Grand Canyon.
And it's a maximum contract, there's not a minimum amount, and I think Mr. Crawford understands there will be significant periods of time during that contract where he will not be working.
Yeah. And Mr. Crawford has always been very diligent about, there's probably some people out there who milk it out, but he's very diligent about just doing it for what his time actually is. So he's, because he also looks at him doing this as, a big part of it is he's doing it for me as a friend, and he's also milk it out because he also looks at it from the perspective as a taxpayer also. So he's a man with a lot of integrity.
Okay, well, he understands, and the only time he would be here would be when you were off.
Yeah, and so I put in a little bit of extra time right there in case we need to go over some things so he could start to learn some of the software. And well, last year he came in a couple of days after I came back because I always have a stack of things I got to go through. So, but yeah, that's as you said, it's a maximum number of hours each week, and I mean, he doesn't touch the maximum hours during the course of that week. I think most that the time when he's been doing this for the area planning commission and the commissioners is that he's had maybe, oh geez, I don't think he's maybe topped a little bit more than 20 hours, but he, like I said, he doesn't use it to, like I said, he doesn't take advantage of it.
Okay, questions, comments?
Does he work every week or just when you need him?
No, it's just when I need him. Yeah. Yep.
It sounds like it's gonna be for when your time's off and then for him to learn the new.
Yeah, so it might need a little bit of extra time for that. Yeah.
That's what you're planning for.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second that.
Have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to approve the contract between the commissioners and Bill Crawford to fill in for Bill McDaniel in the office when he's out. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes.
Okay. And what I'll do, Jane, is when I get a chance to have Bill come in, is we'll stop by your office and we can sign the contract. Okay. Oh, and I do have one thing. Is since we have the goal of getting the software up and online software the first week of September. Now, it is no cost. I think as we remembered from the online billing system, and it automatically adds an additional processing fee. So that's how the actual online billing is done. So I would like to go ahead and then have permission to then go ahead and start the service, or if you'd like to, if you'd like to give some time and then just go ahead and I'll just need to revisit with the people who are running that. I guess the probably best thing is probably then talk to you then the first meeting of September. I suspect you'd probably prefer that instead of, because I need to refamiliarize myself with it also.
Was it my understanding there's other departments that were gonna be a part of that?
Well, I talked to different departments about it as far as, with the billing and so on, but nobody else has really shown an interest in doing it. But I think that if we see how this works, is this may be an option if other offices who don't do online billing want to do it. Now, one of the things we still have is most of what I need is in place for for people filing permits online. I really have things that's more of the things administrative side, the FAQs, then they're providing the links, and then trying to get the various documents from everybody else I need with their petitions and their applications, whether it's health departments and the city utilities, city streets, things along those lines. So at least I can have the applications, and in the case of the, with the highway department, so I can at least provide them as they come on to get to it, so they can actually then download and print things along the lines of the highway department, the drive permits, so they can at least get the permits through me. Get the applications through me, but not the permits. So that'll at least help, I think. And so I can then call everybody and to get all the various permits someone might need for a project. And I think as Mr. Coulter's alluded to, we've actually been talking about trying to do this coordinated a lot more than we have in the past. And we're starting to communicate a lot more between Mr. Coulter and myself, Connersville Utilities and Connersville Streets. So everything we can do to improve communications is good.
Progress.
Okay, and thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Bill, for coming in. Okay, Health Department, Matt Shirk is here for 144 approval.
I hope you all received the 144. It is the school ag, crisis ag grant school liaison position. Tacoma Gibbs formerly had the position, and she's no longer working this position. So this is Melissa Cavanaugh has applied for the position. She is will be a real good addition to our department. And to take over this position, which is a grant-funded position.
How long's the grant? How long's the grant good for?
At least one more year.
One more.
So it started out as a 2-year, so we're just starting the second year, so.
I'll move to accept Ms. Kavanaugh.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to approve the 144 request at the Health Department to hire Melissa Cavanaugh for the position of, this is the
School liaison.
school liaison position. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Three ayes, Jane. So far, Matt, how's it gone between your department and the school system?
It's been good. We've always had a good relationship. With all the new rule changes and stuff, we've been trying to keep them updated with what the State Department of Health releases, because it changes a lot. So I've been able to forward those to Kelly and which is the nurse at the school, and she also shares with administrators. So we've been able to just share that information, and then hopefully with Melissa coming on, she'll be there in an intermediary to even be able to work closer with them. So right now we did our vaccine push all summer to try to catch kids back up on regular vaccinations because they kind of waned with COVID. So I know the school right now is going through their current student list and sending out letters to kids that haven't got their vaccine. So we're expecting a big push again here that school started with regular vaccines at the health department.
Anybody got any more questions for Matt? Matt, thanks for coming in.
All right, thank you.
Okay. 911 Director Kelly Van Meter is here with a 144 request.
Well, because of Mike King, I don't have any, no. I don't have any more 144 sheets. I looked and they weren't even in my download file, so I'll have to get some more, or get some more from Jane. So I had a girl, Jamie West, that I hired, but when she got hired in, she had told us that she had cancer, but it was going to be a procedure that she had done, and it was going to be all right. But we haven't heard back from her since her procedure, so I'm not sure if she's coming back. We've tried to call her, but the voicemail's full, so we are moving on. So Debbie Goins, that is the current police secretary, she has decided to come on board like Jackie Pennington had done in the past. Whenever Jackie got off at 4 up at the police secretary, she'd just come back and work a few hours in the evening. So Debbie has decided to do that same thing. So Debbie Goins is one of our 144 persons. And then Tiffany Bell, she's put an application in. She's got some military background, and she's kind of got a step ahead of some of the programs that we do here at 911. I've got her hired, and then Amber Shanes, she's come aboard. And like I said, I'll actually get the 144 sheet through Jane or the auditor's office and have that formally filled out for everybody. And then Kalen Crumpton, who is a full-timer, he has dropped to part-time because he got another full-time job that he has went on to just for different pay. He is going to stay as a part-time employee. So we still have him, but he's come into the part-time. So different things have been going on at work, at 911, that we've just kind of been changing around. And so I've decided to hire on these people to keep it going, because we've been, between people being sick and just different things, for one, I can't catch this break of not feeling better, but we've had a struggling moment with shift coverage. So we've got to get some more people in there.
All three of these part-time.
Yes.
What did you say Amber's last name was?
Shane's, SHANES.
Okay.
And all three of these have also been to the payroll. Amber was going today when I came over this way, so they've already.
Are you looking at filling the one that left full-time?
I already did with one of the part-timers that was strong. Just flip-flopped them, and then they have to go over and change around with Haley in the payroll department. But then that still caused us to lose a part-timer because she was part-time, so even though Kaylin bounced back into part-time, it still lost a full-timer, so it's just, or a part-timer. So I had to figure out again what to do. We put some Indeed applications out there to try to get more people to fill out some applications.
Did you get any more by doing that?
To Tiffany. Debbie had already expressed interest in it. Once she got acclimated to that job in the police department's office, she had already expressed interest, and actually she had started, like, I think a week ago or so, to come in there for an hour or so after work, because she had had knee surgery, so she kind of wanted to get through some things before she actually started the heavy train. But I didn't care that she came back there and sat and kind of shadowed. So, but she's wanting to do that part-time, which is fine. I think that kind of helps too, that she's in the police department and comes back there and trains.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve it's 3 part-time help at the 911.
Second.
So we have a motion by Tracy, second by Dale, to approve the 911 144's request for Debbie Goins, Tiffany Bell, and Amber Shanes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. There you go.
Okay,
Pick up the 144 form while you're here.
I want to go over and do it.
I emailed you.
Thank you. Well, I bet it's in there somewhere at my computer, but I could not find it quick enough to get over here, so. I even text Mike, I go, you have one? He couldn't find one either. So we don't blame him, but I can't do that now. Okay, I'll see everybody later. Thank you.
Okay. Animal Shelter Director Dave Rickman. Dave, do you have anything for us today?
As we talked about on the county council about the truck, I went and looked at that truck, tested it out, but that one truck already sold. So I went and tested a couple more out, and the old 8 Dodge that I tried, it just didn't handle real good and didn't brake real good. This one here is a Nissan Triton. It brakes good and it got a good strong engine and training in it, and I've got some miles on it, but so did that one Dodge, it did too. And this one here looks about 90, at least 99, 98% better than our other one. They want $5,600 for it. It's an 08. It's 4-wheel drive. It's got a quad cab. It's already got a camper shell with it. The tires are good on it. But it's up to you guys if you want to go for it or not.
Okay, what year is the truck we've got now?
The 07,
07?
yes.
Okay, I don't know, Dale, I don't know if you and Tracy's heard all this or not, but at budget hearings, Dave took a real beating over the shabby appearance of the truck he's using now up there. And it was referred to one up on top of 3rd Street Hill that was for sale, which sold before he got there to look at it, but it had what, 238,000 miles on it?
229,000.
229,000 miles on it, which is pretty high. So this one's over there at Don's Auto Sales, the 2008 Nissan, 182,000. How many miles do you think we would put on one of these a year?
We put on probably roughly about 30, between 25 and 30, somewhere in there sometimes. It all depends what the runs we get. Maybe less a little bit. It all depends on.
So do you think this 2008 Nissan would fit your needs?
I think it would for what we're going to use it for and all that. Hey Jane, I got a question to ask you. The Durango, that's still the cities, isn't it?
Well, I'm
The
sorry.
Durango, the red Durango, that's still the cities that we got
I
up
don't
there?
remember if they signed it over to us or not.
I don't, I thought I would ask that. That thing, it needs to go too, cause we just, I had her check the oil again on it, cause I keep on her, and it was 2-quart low. So that thing leaks through the oil pretty good. Old red Durango,
I'll look and see if we have time on it.
okay.
Where would the money come from to pay this?
Well, that's a good question. Where did you intend to pay for this from? Out of your donations?
Well, we could if that's all right with you. Cause I know, Ann did it before, like that.
Yeah. You can go over and kick the tires if you want to. I haven't seen this truck, so I don't know anything about it. What color is it?
It's white with a, like a burgundy temper shell on it. Some of the, what we'd have to do is scrape some of the old bumper stickers off of the windows somebody put there. That wouldn't be very hard to do.
Yeah.
Cause that other truck they had, like I said, it just didn't fill right in that back end. It had a cracked window in it, windshield. Just didn't feel good on braking and all that. And I did look at a couple other lots and I wouldn't want to pay all that.
Yeah. Well, newer vehicles
Outrageous.
are, yeah, awful high right now.
You feel comfortable? Do you think this would be a good truck for you to use for several years, or?
I think it'll last us for a few years, you know. Like I said, it's got a good strong motor on it and good transmission, because whenever I check them, I do check them out, you know, make sure they don't slip and stuff, and they all seem real strong. But you know, you never know until it's still used.
And then the body on it was
The
good
body's
too? No
pretty
rust?
good. It's pretty solid. There's a little bit right here around the fender well on the back, but that I can get that fixed myself.
The one you got now is an 07
Yeah, the old 07 Dodge.
How many miles on it?
It's got 150, around 156, I think. Just the body looks pretty rough. But like I said, Dale knows, I said I kept the maintenance up on it, except that,
Can you trade it? Are we allowed to do that?
Yeah, we're allowed to.
Might not hurt to just keep the truck for a backup, or maybe I might need a transport real quick or something. Keep the miles off the other trucks. That's something we can think about too, But we do have that Dodge Dakota up there.
Now, how many vehicles do you have right now?
Well, the 3 trucks we got right now, the new one, the 07, and the 2000 Dodge Dakota. Then we got that, I think it's an 03 Dodge Durango, isn't it? I think. 04? Okay. I think it's the cities. I'm not sure it's the R's or the cities yet. James gonna find that out, won't you?
I just say from my emails, I can't tell. I know we had some conversation about it, but nothing that ever says, yes, we'll give you title.
Yeah.
So you have 3 vehicles.
And I know that is the counties. I think that other one is still the cities. I'm not for sure.
Do you use them all, or?
No, the blue one, the blue Durango, is parked in the garage. Whenever we got this one, that Dakota is going to take so much to fix it, because you had to pull the engine and everything out to fix all the freeze plugs, and it needed some other work done to it. So it's going to be more than what the truck was worth. So that's whenever we got the other Durango.
Is it still something we're paying for insurance and things on?
I think we might, I don't know. Probably.
I mean, you could drive it if you wanted to.
Yeah, we can drive it,
No?
but you gotta keep the water in it and stuff.
If you wanna go over and talk to Don, talk trade or something, you can do that.
If he thinks he ought to keep it, he probably ought to keep it.
Cause you never know, something might break down, we might need it. I just looked at it and got the price and everything, so, I left it up to you guys.
Do you think this is something you need, or you want to keep looking, or?
I think we probably won't find anything about the same price. Everything else will be up higher. Because I looked around on some of them. I even called a friend of mine over in Greensboro to see what they had. He said from 20,000 on up. I said, forget it. Thanks. So.
I don't think Dave would be here if he wasn't getting so much grief for a vehicle looking so junky.
I'll move to approve it.
I'll second it.
Okay, was been motioned by Dale, second by Tracy to approve the animal control department's purchase of a used 2008 Nissan from Don's Auto Sales for $5,600. Is there any further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. All right, go over and tell Don you'll take it.
Okay. Just go ahead and fill out the purchase order thing, just like you normally would, and put the my donation count on it then?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Good luck with it.
Sweat.
I got one more thing for you, Dave. Have you
Yes, sir.
done anything, got anything figured on that building?
I
We
did
talked about-
have a guy come up and look. I haven't received anything yet. And I got another guy coming shortly here, supposed to get with me to see about that too. So I'm making sure that we try to do this right, you know, with 3 bids or something. So I'm waiting on waiting on him to give me his, and waiting on to try to get a couple more.
Do we need to make a motion so he can use the building, or do we need to hold off? Because he needs someplace to store his dog food, this kind of stuff. So can we go ahead and make a motion for him to use this building, or what do we need to do?
Yeah, we can give him use of the building.
Well, I move that he uses the building. I don't know what else to
I
say.
mean, I second that. I'm in agreement. I've been up there and seen it and think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Need.
Do you need it for storage and such?
Yeah, that will help.
Okay. We've got a motion by Dale, second by Tracy, to give the animal shelter director use of the, what am I going to call it, the secondary building on the site up there. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
There you go.
Thank you, guys.
Stack your stuff in there. You got all those new, those cages from Wayne County. Have you got those in place?
Well, right now I'm using our old ones and those new ones right now. I got some cats that's getting ready to go to Kentucky tomorrow. They're coming up to pick them up. So I kept them separate so they won't catch nothing. So they're out there in the other barn with them right now. So as soon as they get out of there, we're going to bring them in and switch them around. And put the other cat cages in the back room where we can keep them, but use them if we need to. But those are nice cages, so that we got. And especially the price.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't beat it.
Okay, well, thanks, Dave.
Thank you, guys.
County Attorney, do you have anything to report?
Don't.
Does anyone have any mail to share? Do you have any old business you want to bring up?
Yeah, I got one, the county highway, Danny,
Danny
Darbo.
Yarbo?
Yeah, was in and talking about the new bridge overweight signs. They'll probably be starting to put those up here in the next couple of weeks, so just so people know they're gonna be out putting them up. So, that's all I got.
Okay. You got anything, Tracy? All right. We have representatives here today from the Connection Cafe. Ladies?
Thank you. So today I have with me an intern from the high school, and you might know who she is. This is Lacey, and I'm going to have her pass out something to you. So we're not here to ask for anything. We don't want or need anything. We come to just give updates today. So the last time I think we were here, we came for our renewal for just the SSP. And so through the process of the Connection Cafe and with the merge of the harm reduction program, we've been able to actually separate from the fiscal agent that we had out of Shelbyville. So we're now our own independent entity. We applied for a 501 in August of last year, and it was approved. And as of March, we had gotten it. So we have Indiana Legal Services through the state that's walked us through that process. And so what that's done for us is it's allowed us to hire Kemper locally as our accountant. It allowed us to get all of our insurances through Wilson, Lawson, and Myers. And it will keep like all of the overhead money here in the county instead of paying another entity just to house our grants. So that was one thing that I felt like was exciting to share. We currently have 4 employees at the cafe, and including myself, we have 5. We've been able to train 7 other recovery coaches or peer recovery specialists without no charge to them, and now they're certified. We just got a partnership with the Department of Workforce Development, and we have an intern through them, through an apprenticeship, that will be with us for 1 year, and that individual gets paid a stipend, and then the cafe will receive somewhat of a stipend to oversee that for him. Any questions so far? So this is our first year to have an intern through the high school, and Jane had reached out about Lacey and her having interest going into human services work of some sort. So we're excited to have her, and we'll have her for 15 hours a week. And then we have a relationship too with Ivy Tech, and we'll have our 5th intern through them this semester as well. And let's see, on the paper, I put all of our partners down there. I thought that was kind of important because as of right now, we don't receive any funding, or we don't ask the county for any funding at all. One thing that we're moving forward with the State Department of Health is we're getting ready to apply for some funds through IDOH so that we can have a full-time tester at the cafe for HIV and Hep C, and working with Amy downstairs, so knowing like some of the transitions there, we would be able to have our tester come here as well, and hopefully after election we'll be able to offer some more services at the jail, free of charge to anyone. And I attached a ticket on the back of your paperwork there. We're going to be hosting an overdose awareness event, and we've rented the theater for this. We'll be showing a documentary called Tipping the Pain Scale. Indiana Recovery Network and Indiana Addiction Issues Coalition made it possible for us to get the documentary before it's played on Netflix. We had the choice to use it as a fundraiser or an awareness event, so we chose to just raise awareness. I would love for you guys to come. It is free of charge. Reed will be providing snacks and drinks that day. We'll also have some representatives from the state to speak prior to the movie. And then after the movie, we in memory of those that we've lost, we always go to Smalley's or someplace to release lanterns, or this year we'll be releasing wish paper too, and depending upon the weather. So if it's dry out, then we'll do something different. Maybe, I'm not really sure, but something that's not so harmful. What else? And tomorrow, Doug Huntsinger from the state, he's the executive director for drug prevention and treatment enforcement, will be at the cafe. It's his first visit to the cafe. He's coming to see it and to see some of the efforts that we have there.
Did you say Doug Huntsinger?
Mhm.
Yes, I met him. That's good. I'm glad he's coming.
He's a great guy. Like,
Yes.
he's very passionate. So far he seems to be like a person of his word. He's very passionate about substance use and prevention.
Yes.
So we're excited about that visit. He'll be there at 1:30 if you guys want to stop by. And let's see. Something else we have at the cafe now is what we've learned is instead of just having and referring people out all the time to services, when we get that relationship built through recovery coaches at the cafe, then the more services that we can offer there, the more apt they are to engage. And as you can see, our numbers of like referrals have increased tremendously. We have a licensed clinical social worker there every Thursday that's available to them. We've also just recently been able to partner with A Better Way, which is domestic violence and sexual assault. And so there's a peer that's there on Thursdays. to meet with anyone that's in need of those services. And we have Aspire that comes in right now to do our testing, but they're only able to come every so often. So that was the reason why we've decided to go ahead and be able to apply so that we can get a full-time tester. Oh, and we have a kiosk where people can receive telehealth services as well. So they don't have to actually leave the cafe for anything. They can get all of those services there. And I think that's all I got.
It's good.
Any questions?
Well, that's a good report, Sharman. For the record, when you introduced your intern, you said her name was Lisa? Lisa?
No, it's Lacey.
Oh, Lacey. Lacey who?
Downward.
Lacey Downer, okay. And what will be your duties at the cafe?
Observing, helping out with whatever's needed.
So we just, yesterday was her first day, and we have not yet got a defined role. I'm going to meet with her mom in the school just to make sure, and to see what she is allowed and isn't allowed to do. She has an interest in, what field do you plan to go in? Mental health. So Jay had reached out to see if she could come see the cafe, and sometimes we figure out that that's not the work we want to do. So I think it's great that she gets to intern and have some firsthand experience before spending 4 years or something in a field that you don't want.
Okay.
I've been super impressed with everything Charmin's been able to do down there. So when Lacey wanted an internship, she was the first person I thought of about if she would be willing to take her. So I'm super excited that you're giving her the chance.
Well, thank you for allowing us. When I met her, I knew it was just like of course.
Yeah.
She's got a gentle spirit, you can tell. We now offer 6 peer support groups a week, so the cafe is open 6 days a week for a period of some time. And she attended one of our groups last night, and she introduced herself, and they know she's shadowing. So, yeah, we're grateful to have her.
Okay, anybody, any other questions?
No, I don't.
No, I will plan to be at that event. I'm excited about that. That the Showtime Cinema, the tipping the scale.
I would love to have more community leaders. This documentary is about a community, which every community has it. We're not special. I think sometimes we just think that because we hear so much about it, we're small, our unemployment numbers, there's just so many things that make our numbers, I think, more negative, the impact. But it's about a community that came together to support people in recovery and law enforcement engaging and a difference that they've made. So,
That's good.
and you guys are welcome to come to the cafe, hang out, play games, or whatever. We would love to have you.
Thank you very much, Sharman.
Thank you.
Okay. Carol McQueen is here today from representing the Drug Coalition. Carol?
Good afternoon. I am here to request the release of the funds for the grants for the Drug Coalition. We have determined the grants that meet the goals in our comprehensive plan, and we're ready to write some checks.
You had what, 7, 6
Grants.
that you're releasing for?
So here's,
I've got
since
a
I
list
gave you
of
that
that.
yesterday,
You got a list.
this is the caveat to this. We've changed some things around to try to put somebody in a different category to try to get more money for the programs. So actually what I'm asking for is the total with the administrative cost is $25,690.80. So a third of that, or a fourth of that goes into each category, and these numbers may change a little bit from what I gave you yesterday, as of today. Everyone on the board, like Charmin's on the board, everyone has day jobs, And so it's very difficult to get decisions made quickly, so I didn't get the decisions and the exact numbers made before I came here today. But basically, if we release that money, they'll be somewhere in here, these numbers may change a little bit.
How much you said, 25?
25, 690, and 80 cents.
And for the record, these fund releases will be to benefit Brianna's Hope,
Yeah, I can read them off if you want
Red
to.
Ribbon Week, Celebrate Recovery, Recovery Festival, Connection Cafe, the Drug Task Force, and the Drug Court. Is there any more than that?
Added to today, the Freedom House and the House of Ruth. We had 2 grants that we weren't quite sure were fitting into the proper categories, but once reviewing it again today, they do fit, so I added those 2 on today. We were gonna come back later and ask for those, but I think we're good with those. We've determined today that we're okay with those, so I added 2 more today. So I have them on paper.
Okay.
It's a little confusing. The state changed the definitions in some of the categories, which changed what we had to look at in order to meet our goals. So that's what happened. So again, we may tweak some numbers.
I'll move to approve the 25, 690, 80.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to release these funds to the Fayette County Drug Coalition in the amount of $25,690.80. Any further question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. There you go, Carol.
Thank you very much.
Is there anything else
Appreciate
you
your
do
time.
today?
Nope.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, we have one item under new business. I guess he couldn't be here, but at our last meeting, Jerry Gobin was here with a quitclaim request, and he realized he had the wrong paper, and he went to get the one he needed, and by then we'd adjourned. And so I think he's left that behind. You got this, Jane? Or where, there it is. Okay. This involves that little strip of ground down there along Ziegler Road. If you remember, there along there where Gene Looping owns, and we have a right-of-way that is much wider than it was originally intended to be. And this, if I recall right, I think there's almost 2 acres involved in that. I remember looking at the maps there. So this is owned by the county, but by approving this quitclaim, we would be returning that ground to its original configuration with the surrounding property.
And by not doing this, it landlocks the back side of it.
Yeah, you could say that, yeah.
Well, I thought it locked part of Luby
Yeah.
or something back there.
Because when we started that discussion, the Lukens was wanting an easement through there, but it was a real short area. And when we got to investigating it, found out that when Ziegler Road was constructed, there was, for some reason or another, there was 2 plans that was originally laid out, and it caused the right-of-way to be much wider than it they really needed to be. So this just returns that strip of ground to where it used to be and where it belongs.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy, to approve the quitclaim deed requested by Deborah A. Luping and Eugene M. Luping. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. So we might as well just take care of this right now. I know they've been working on this for over a year. Sign both copies. Okay. Okay. We have a representative here from Spyglass. And Michael, do you want to introduce John and?
I don't know any more than you guys do.
Okay. All right.
Mike, we chatted on the phone 2 weeks ago for like 2 minutes. That was a good talk. I was telling Michael he's a legend because I worked with Rosemary Brown over in Connersville. And I was talking to Jane, and I didn't know Michael was doing double duty at the county and the city. I'm like, you're a legend around here. There's not too many people that can do that job. Well, I appreciate the time here this afternoon. Jane, thanks for being nice enough to put my face up there on the screen.
It's actually your whole slideshow.
Oh, it's a whole slideshow. Well, I could give you folks a quick 30-second commercial, and then we could take it from there based on dialogue and questions. But Spyglass does work with a lot of organizations, a lot of municipalities, ones who are typically looking for unique ways to cut costs. The reason we use that word unique, though, is because when it comes to all the different line items on the budget, the only that we actually look at is communication spending or communication invoices. So that's anything that you folks see monthly bill on, say for phones, internet, data, wireless, cloud services. That's really our niche focus. A lot of times, like right off the rip, someone's like, John, what are you actually selling me? The thing is we don't. So we don't sell you any new phone service, any new hardware, we don't come about wires. Our job, though, is we can just define cost savings opportunities through your business. So that's errors, inefficiencies, rate improvements, dormant or redundant services you folks might be paying for, but no longer utilizing. And surprised that we do find a lot of fraudulent charges, but we're not a broker, so we don't have any affiliation with, say, the Metronets or the Verizons of the world. Our job is to say, hey, here's where the county's been overbilled, and here's how you can trim that fat moving forward. But the reason a lot of municipalities love utilizing Spyglass is because we don't find you folks any cost savings opportunities. It doesn't cost you a penny. Anything that we do find for you, we'll present it to you. And at that point, folks like to see great. If not, we simply shake hands and go our separate ways. Does that make sense thus far? So we worked actually with the county back in 2011. I believe Debbie Shaw was the auditor at that point in time. So typically after so many years, we reach out to our clients, we do what the form is called, it's a repeal audit. Just because I'm sure you folks know is technology is always changing. Back in 2010, 2011, everybody's using those plain old telephone lines, and then switched over to like the voice over IP and the PRIs. Cloud services is kind of the big thing. So we realized after so many years as technology changes, providers are changing, that there's opportunity for us to come back out there and achieve additional savings for the clients. The nice thing about the analysis is we come back this time around, we don't find you folks any cost savings, it doesn't cost you a penny. We'll provide you an industry benchmark analysis that'll show where you folks line up in terms of technology spend with all the other 41 counties that work across the state of Indiana. So what I did with Rosemary back in 2018, we did again earlier for this year, we saved $9 in annual savings. First time around it was $8,000, this time it was about $9, just because things have changed. The thing that really changed on their end was they switched a Frontier account out to a MetroNet account, and they're being no taxes on it. However, we worked with you folks back in 2011. Your main provider at that time was Frontier. Now, Michael, tell me from you guys over on MetroNet now. So you guys made a switch over to MetroNet. You guys are probably on voice over IP. They're over on voice over IP now. So a lot has changed has happened over those 10 plus years. So it's one of those things where we get 2 months worth of bills from the auditor's office. We go away for about 4 weeks. You folks don't see or hear from us. And at that point in time, we'll come back with all our recommendations for savings. Think of our recommendations as being like an a la carte menu style or buffet style. If we come back with 10 recommendations, but say the county only likes, say, 7 of them, SPILES will implement those recommendations for you with the providers. Other 3 out the window at no charge. Vice versa though, say we come back with 10 recommendations for savings, but the county doesn't like any of them, we simply shake hands and go our separate ways, no cost to you. So the only way that SPILES actually gets compensated is through the recommendations you folks do would have to implement. There's 2 different types of categories. There's the first aspect, which is recovery opportunities. So think of recovery as like taxes you should be exempt from, the fees and the surcharges. On that there, all SPILES gives a 50% share. So for example, say you find you 10K in recovered hours, you have folks who get your credit for 10K. Once it's been verified and confirmed, you set your credit, you send you a city invoice for 5K. As far as forward-looking opportunities, that deals with service elimination, getting rid of any unused or redundant services. A lot of these times, these providers are not knocking on doors, but you know that there's some tech upgrades, that there might be some fat out there that's being used, and also cost reduction, which is really optimizing your folks' rate structures. On that there, all SPILES gives just the first year savings. So say you find a couple unused lines that were costing the county $100 a month, it'd be 100 times 12, the first year savings, which would be $1,200. Then after that, SPILES would be off your folks' books for good. So whatever the county already has budgeted out, say this year, unused or redundant services versus out of market pricing, instead of continuing to pay like a MetroNet or a Verizon, you instead pay SPILES at one time, and after that year's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you don't know savings to the summer. Questions?
I don't know.
I understand that. You got any questions yet, Tracy?
No, I think I understand what you do. And if you, how does it work then? How do you come back, would you say every year and look at it again? Is that what you do?
No, so with Rosemary Brown over at the City of Connersville, we waited about 3.5 years, so 2018 until 2022. And at that point, we're like, all right, we'll take on the risk again. We'll see if there's any new opportunities out there. It was just this time around, there was no opportunity. There was no savings. So they got a pat in the back, and then they got their industry benchmark, which just compares them to other costs within Indiana at other cities and towns throughout the state.
So basically, it sounds like maybe if they take your advice that you give on things that aren't needed or things you find, it should be better than after that.
Which is great, because some people
Yeah.
have the example, well, how do we stop these things from creeping up back on the bill again?
Right.
Well, where's Mary Brown? She's a great example. It's like, hey, why don't you reach out to her? We waited about 3.5, 4 years, and the only opportunity there was because they switched over from a Frontier to a MetroNet account.
Can you remember, for us, you said it was in 2011?
Yeah.
What was it here?
14K in annual savings.
Quite a bit of money. And 11 years ago? So then, based on that figure you gave, the county paid you, let you have the 50% of that.
So we got the whole first year savings of that.
Mm-hmm.
About 13K was forward-looking savings. And I want to say Frontier at the time, there was some extra, if you ever notice like your cell phone bill, if you ever notice little fees and surcharges at the bottom of it, sometimes they tend to go up a few bucks, sometimes they tend to go down. It leaves a lot of people scratching their head, well, what goes in the fee and surcharge category? With that point in time, Frontier was dinging the county a little extra on the fee and surcharge side. It was like $400, so we split that part 50-50.
And again, if there were an agreement, we're not saying that we would choose to do anything that you would come back with and it would cost us anything.
Yeah, you
Right.
folks get to sit in the driver's seat and pick and choose which you want to move forward with. If I use this thing as a work on
The mouse is right there in front of you.
Michael, do you have an opinion that you'd like to
It just
share?
depends on what the savings are that come back. I mean, obviously with the $9, it really didn't matter, but I mean, it all depends on what they find, what kind of duplicate services might be there. And sometimes they don't find anything, and sometimes they find a bunch of lines that we're not using. Back in 2018, they found a bunch of lines that, through the city, a bunch of fax lines that weren't being used, and other things that weren't being used anymore. And that's one of the things that saved the city money was finding things that were still being paid for that nobody was using.
What's your opinion, Jeff?
Doesn't sound like it's gonna cost us anything unless we decide we have some savings. The only thing I would worry about, I guess, is and I'm sure we'd be able to make that decision, is a lot of times when you change services or something, you get a 1-year type of cheaper price, and that would seem to be a silly savings, because next year might be different.
Yeah, so if someone offered to change my services for me, since if say I'm from the county, I'd probably tell them to piss off in the nicest way possible, because that's more work for you folks. And on top of that, if they offer me only a 1-year kind of like promotional rate, which you might be referring to, that wouldn't really make sense for you folks, because at that point in time, it's like you're going to pay Spyglass and you'd pay the same amount you would next year. So that's one of those things that Spyglass knows. As we come on into it, we're going to provide you with recommendations that would make sense for you folks to move forward with. Because coming back with a 1-year promotional rate, it wouldn't make sense for the county to entertain that idea. But I mean, here's some little statistics. I mean, at this point, we got about 13,000 clients. Past 3 years, we're up to over 3,600. During that 3-year period of time, we identified about $124 million in savings. As far as how each engagement goes, we have a 99% hit rate. So say you folks find out 1%, we don't find you any cost savings. Again, it's really not that bad either for you, because one, you don't owe a spouse a penny. 2, will provide you a clean bill of health. And then 3, get that industry benchmark analysis, which I'll show you here in a second. Recover opportunities is about 60% of those engagements that we go into. We find opportunities where clients have been overdone in the past, so we go back, recoup those dollars for you. A big example with that would be is we found out with the city in 2018 is really just the taxes. You folks are supposed to be tax exempt. However, when we're reverse engineering these bills and bringing those numbers different components, we're finding a lot of times like the federal excise taxes and the state and local taxes that are done into it. And then from a forward-looking perspective, we have about a 20% of annual savings, which is over our 13,000 client base. But if you look at that map right there, it's kind of covered up because it's just using a PowerPoint. But I mean, you'll be able to see all of our 13,000 clients in the back. And it kind of looks like an Arby's in a way with all the different locations on there. But the map really plays an important role for us because it really allows us to really drill down geographically wise, and also the providers of each of those markets. So when it comes to actually getting better price and moving on forward, we have a pretty good pulse just based on all the data that we've aggregated from our past clients. Really the market rates are out there for you. And then, but this is really here like the process. So we would get 2 months for the bills. We have our clients sign what's called a letter of authorization or a letter of agency. I'm not sure if you folks heard of those before, maybe seen one in the past. So the letter of authorization, it doesn't actually allow files to pull the trigger or anything. What it allows us to do is more so is source additional information from, say, Metronet. They don't send you on a monthly basis. That's like customer service records, your current contracts, usage traffic reports. The reason being is like looking at a Metronet bill, that might tell a spouse about 5% of what's actually going on, but to really look at it on that granular level, we source things like CSRs, your current contracts, usage traffic reports. And the second part reason we use that LOA is because the last thing that we want Michael to do is, or Jane to do is just have to reach out to the providers and get that information for us. I mean, you guys are probably understaffed like most counties and cities that we work with. The last thing that Spouse wants to do is just add another product onto your plate. So this allows us to streamline the process and then do everything behind the scenes back in Cleveland. So you get 2 months for the bills, letter of authorization, snapshot audit agreement. We have a quick kickoff meeting. Kickoff meeting takes about 15 minutes. On this call, I introduce your team to the project manager for the analysis. We really just want to make sure we're setting the correct expectations for everybody. So like if we're missing a piece of billing, we can go ahead and let you know on the call instead of playing any phone or email tag. And at the end, what we'll do is we'll take out our calendars and we'll find a good date and time for us to come back and present the findings for you. So after that, we go away for about 4 weeks for that analysis is. You folks don't see or hear from us. Then after the analysis, we'll come back for that summary findings meeting. So that's where we'll come back, we'll show you what we found and how we found it, and then we'll present to you those 3 different types of recommendations. So again, the first one's that's recovery. That's going backwards. From a forward-looking perspective, that's service elimination and cost reduction. So really getting rid of anything that's unused, like Mike referred to, like the fax lines and all that stuff, or getting the better pricing. And then at the end of it, if you look at the last part, we didn't have this back in 2011 when we first started working with you. Now we provide our clients an industry benchmark analysis. So this will show where your folks' technology spend lines up with other counties that we worked with across the US and Canada. And also we'll take it a step further and show you the states. So thus far I worked with 42, including you folks. So you guys will get an upgrade, and we'll show you where your costs line up with them as well. Some people call it like a report card almost. Any questions here? And then, so we kind of went over, the only way we actually do get paid is through the recommendations you do have us implement for us. So there's no cost to the analysis, no cost for us to come back with the inventories and tell you exactly what you guys are paying for, no cost for that benchmark analysis, but recovery aspect, that's 50-50, and then from a forward-looking perspective, that's just the first year savings.
John, on this screen here,
Yes, sir.
you say you earn $1,200. Okay, that's $1,200 a year, or am I reading that right?
Yeah, so Commissioner, that's a good example. So, for example, see where it says $100 in that first line?
Yeah.
So say Spouse found a couple unused lines. Those lines were costing the county $100 a month. It would be 100 times 12 for the first year savings, which would be $1,200. Then after that, you folks found those savings for the county. It's the same example if you look at the top one for the recovery aspect. It says, say we're to find the county 10K recovery hours. You folks would get that check or credit for 10K. And once it's been verified and confirmed you received it, then it's possible to more $5K.
I remember us going through this back in, I think it was 2011 or 2012. And I don't remember every detail about it.
Are we here in 2011?
No, I wouldn't hear it.
What I'm learning is it sounds like these providers fraudulently bill everybody.
Yeah, it's one of those things where when it comes to like a budget, telecommunications is such it's a low ticket item just because like at a county level, like salaries, benefits, like health insurance and all that. It's one of those things that's it's almost like a necessary evil where people's like, hey, like we have to have this service, let's go on and pay on out. So it doesn't really have the attention to detail. At the same time too is the providers, they don't really do a good job of explaining the bills for you. Like if you look at a bill, it might just say current charges, your fees, your surcharges, and that's about it. So what a lot of our clients will do is, I'm not sure if you folks the same way, is they do more of a consistency check where as long as like month A lines with month B, we're going to pretty much process and pay out the bill. It's just in Spiles's world that most of the time these bills are just consistently wrong. So it takes a lot of time on our end. There's a lot of overhead on our end because it takes about 4 weeks to actually do the audit for you. So we have to source a lot of information from the providers, load out the inventories for you. And a lot of folks will say is like, you don't really have the time necessarily, the expertise when it comes to the different, the nuances of the bills, like the taxes and the tariff pricing and all that. So it's a little niche in the market that we kind of carved out for ourselves.
This will include all of our entities as a county, like corrections, jail, everything. Sounds like a win thing to me if we're not having to pay anything up front, and then we decide if we don't want to use it when you come back. We still don't have to pay anything, correct?
Correct.
Sounds like we'd be seeing if we're being.
The only thing I would say is the recovery, I would say we probably are entitled, we were bound by that, correct? Like if you do recover,
So the recovery would be good for 1 year.
okay.
So you don't move forward with our recovery opportunities after that 1 year. Then at that point, if you folks want to go out and get it yourselves. A lot of folks would say is, I'm not sure if you ever had to like try and recoup a credit from a provider. It takes a lot of our clients a lot of time, just because you get bounced around from one provider to the next, and they'll say they'll call you back and whatnot. So a lot of people say kind of giving up. It gets to the point. They're like, all right, well that's why I was coming after that. So we kind of have like the connections to go straight up to it and get it done. And a lot of people at that point are like, hey, like, you're gonna do the work for us. Might as well go out and get it. So a lot of times with recovery too, it's stuff you guys didn't know about, stuff that you've been being overbilled. We'll highlight that for you, and it's just money that's going back to the county the other day.
Okay, do you have a sample agreement or something? that we
Yeah, I
could-
can pass it out to you guys.
we could
You
have-
guys can review it internally, yeah.
It's normal and customary for us, before we enter agreements, give our county attorney time to
Yeah.
review these things, warn us if he spots anything that we should be aware of, and that sort of thing. And it gives everyone time to think everything over and then eventually make a decision.
Okay. That's just a letter of authorization.
Okay, you got a letter of authorization and a written agreement.
Yeah, so the letter of authorization, that's that document that allows us to get all that information on the back end from the providers. So like customer service records, grant contracts, usage track reports.
Okay, well, what would you like to do? Take this advice under advisement and study this stuff, talk it over with Jeff, and maybe make a decision a couple of weeks or so? Okay.
I'm going to table it, take it under advisement till our next meeting, give Jeff time to look through it.
I'll second
Okay, we have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to table this request and possibly make a decision at our next regular meeting in September. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Do you folks
Very
meet
nice.
first and third Tuesdays of each?
First and third Tuesdays. Our next
September 6th.
September 2nd,
6th.
6th? Okay, September 6th will be our next one.
It's day after Labor Day.
And in the meantime, then we can we email you with questions and such? We
Yeah,
have-
let me pass up my cards. By the way, your dog looks exactly like you.
Thank you.
She has two of them.
Looks exactly like
Twins.
I can say, yeah, the other one looks exactly like that one.
They messed with me because there's an intern in the prosecutor's office.
Oh.
I was there to do a criminal defense earlier today.
It's like, hey,
I saw.
You doing double duty with
So,
interns?
yeah.
I appreciate the time here this afternoon.
Okay, well, John, thanks for all the information, and we'll look this over.
That sounds good. Usually I used to, like 4 or 5 years ago, oh no, not 4 or 5 years ago, probably 2 or 3 years ago, we used to travel to all our meetings on the road. So I do like 4,000 or 5,000 miles a month. So, but it's been like a year and a half since I've been to an in-person meeting. And I forgot the Indiana back roads. I got caught behind a scrap truck who was going like 25 on the way in. And I was trying to do a pass, but like I couldn't find that comfortable spot. So it brought me back down memory lane. Have a good night, everybody.
Okay, thank you. Michael, did you have anything today for us?
Anything for me?
No, I guess not.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
Okay, is there any patron concerns? That finishes our standard agenda. Does anybody have anything else they wanted to?
Move to approve payroll and claims.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to approve claims and payroll. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane.
We didn't approve, maybe we should.
2 months of bills, I was ready. You don't know what's in there, well, this is why, because that's, 2 months of bills, we don't,
You don't have the time to do that.
right,
Seems like a
to go
no-brainer
page
to
by
me.
page.
It almost kind of makes sense, I think,
Yeah.
occasionally to do that.
It just upsets you how much the providers,
Yeah.
because they wouldn't be doing this unless they were very confident they're gonna find
Yes.
money.
And yeah, there's obviously money, I didn't know it had that many employees.
Well, even my own phone bill, they've changed things, and I go in and find out they did something on like the extra $12,
Yeah.
So I was thinking, yeah, can't imagine everything we have here. I forgot we're still on camera. I forgot we're still on camera. Need to have the service check out my business for me. See where I'm wasting money.
That's it.
Got one question. What do we need to do to move forward with the bid process for the air handlers?
Good question. We had a discussion about this. I don't think it was an official discussion with Jeff. I think knowing what, if if I recall this right, knowing what kind of outcome we wanted to have when the job was done was key to how do you word the specifications, I'll say. We know what we want, but we haven't, I don't know if we figured out a way to put it on paper in a way that a company could bid on it and know what their objective is. We gotta have airflow. How much airflow? How do you measure that? And I think that was the main issue right there. Jeff, do you recall our conversation on that?
I certainly do. I think one thing that came up that I kind of was a fan of was the idea of potentially finding some type of engineer to give us an analysis of the situation and maybe the language that we would require for those bids, and then assist us in bidding, much like we do it for a structure. I guess it's enough money to me that I want to get it right if we're going to do it.
Yeah, we for sure want to do it right.
So how do we go about finding an engineer?
I feel like one of our engineers that comes frequently said they had a division that could maybe help with that service. Am I wrong?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
It seems like that'd be something like VLC might would have since they're
Right.
gonna build jails.
Right.
We could send out some inquiries and see if anybody specializes in that sort of advice. And if there's a state established standard, a minimum standard, I don't know what that would be. If there is, we would need to know what that is. And anything else that's pertinent to a project like that, you know.
I will tell you that I know that the gentleman here has done a lot of good for our community, and maybe he can come up with a study, but if you recall, there was no discussion about what it would be, what the airflow would be at the end of the day. And that kind of is our whole reason for doing it.
Yeah.
So I think it would make sense to have an independent individual engineer that can say this is the type of power you need and with these type of pipes and this is going to be the outflow and this is, and then when we do get bids, we'd know if we're comparing apples to apples, or you know what I mean, if they review the bids, because the 4 of us, 5 of us, they have no clue what we're comparing.
Right.
So would we be right or wrong reaching out to maybe, like she was saying, the DLZ?
I think that's
see what they,
Yeah.
their reps would have.
And for services, we don't have to have quotes, so we can, or bids, you could just find one and hire one.
Yeah, we could reach out and see what those guys advise. I'm open to any suggestion that'll move it forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we need to do it soon because of the bids that we have. They're gonna go up soon. So I don't know how soon someone could get in to do that. That basically it's like a feasibility type study on the air, right?
Yeah. We've had a lot of, I can't remember who did there was some work done over there on the ductwork a number of years ago. I can't remember who did that. We can find out. I don't know if they would have anyone on staff that could advise on that sort of stuff or not.
And it needs to be, I'm assuming it needs to be someone who's not gonna potentially also bid the work, right? Because all of those companies probably have someone.
Yeah.
So if we went with someone who's not, I don't know, because that's kind of the conversation we had before too.
Mm-hmm.
would it be fair to have them do that and then not allow them to bid?
It would be best to get your advice from a disinterested party, you know.
Right.
And there's where your engineering firms, I think, would fall into play more so than a contractor.
And DLZ has some familiarity with the project.
They do, you know.
I would hope we could get like a not to exceed kind of type contract too. You know, I sometimes engineers can get carried away. I don't want it to, you know.
Well,
Yeah,
and we have an amount that, which we wouldn't, we know, that Train was willing to do that work of that very, what we're talking about. That's what they wanted ahead of time, remember? That's why we didn't get anything else from them, but they did say for this price, we would go in and do this, say, basically tell you what you need.
they would work up, they were gonna work up a plan, I guess it was, you know. But as far as getting the work done,
They didn't tell us anything on the work. They just wanted to do the work that we're talking about right now, though. That's what they proposed to us, so I don't know if they would be someone we could use or not, based on that.
I think they wanted the whole project.
I think they had subcontractors.
Yeah.
If I
Oh, you
remember
chose
right.
A or
If I
B
remember
on that,
right.
so that's true. They did have that on there for proposition. But they also wanted ahead of time this piece we're talking about to do first, so I don't know.
I bet if we called DLZ and said this is what we need, I bet you they'd either have a division, a guy or two or gal that do this specifically, or they'd be able to direct us to a firm that does.
Well, you wanna give that a try?
Do we need to make that a motion, or
I would.
I'll move it, we contact DLZ to look at moving forward with the air handling engineering of the jail.
I'll second that.
And motion by Dale, second by Tracy to make contact with DLZ for advice on bidding the air handler replacement at the jail. All in favor?
Right.
3 ayes, Jane. Okay, we'll make contact with them and see what they can tell us.
That's good. And then we do have enough, we've gotten 2 bids then, so based on what they say,
These are quotations.
right, quotes. Bids.
Evidently, they've been talking to Bill Gray.
Mhm.
Is there anything else today?
Not that I know of.
Nope, that sounds,
Jane, are we forgetting anything?
I don't think so.
Can you say that with a straight face?
Sure. I don't think so.
Okay.
Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion by Dale, second by Tracy to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 3 ayes. We're adjourned. Thank you all very much.